What's up, everyone? First live broadcast game baseball. If you are a follower subscriber of Fancy Endgame, you know we do live mock drafts every week, multiple times per week, and now it's time to give baseball some love. Well, it's not quite draft season for baseball, but it's never too early to do a best ball draft. So I'm jumping in right now to an underdog draft for a grand prize of 100,000. And I'm on the clock just like that with the number one pick. That's just how it shakes out. So I'm gonna start explaining the rules as soon as I make this first pick. Who is number one overall? I did a video on that, but this is underdog. This is best ball. It's a little different. I am gonna go with the guy I still think is gonna be the best player in fantasy baseball this year. I'm gonna go with Ronald Acuna Jr. All right, now let me explain for those who want to know what is going on. So this is the Dinger. This is Underdogs, one of their several best ball contests that they have going on right now. Just $10 to enter. Grand prize you might have seen on the thumb going for right here, 100K, first place overall winner. Now, that sounds easier said than done. So let me explain how this works. Go over some of the quick details here right now. This is a best ball, which if you know what best ball is, you don't have to set a lineup. You pick some guys and just get the best that they do throughout the season. Now, this is a live draft, a quick draft, 30 seconds per pick. So I'll have a little bit of time in between, especially since I am at the very beginning here. I'll start going through some of the picks in a second so you don't miss everything that's going on early. But I want to let you know what this is. So the first 18 weeks, it's qualifiers. You want to try to win your league. And then if you do win your league, your individual league, 12-team league, then you go to the quarterfinals, semifinals, and championship. You're going against the best of the best, the winners of the other leagues in that format. All right, so let's look at the board so far, and then I'll talk about the scoring so you know what this means. So right now we got all outfielders. Why is everyone taking an outfielder? Well, that has to do with the format. So let me tell you what it is. It's not, if you play baseball, fantasy, you know, you have a lot of positions. It's not just like football where you have quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. And that's all that really matters, right? Forget kickers. In baseball, you got 9 positions on the diamond. And of course, it goes deeper than that. A lot of leagues, you have a corner infielder, a middle infielder, 4 or 5 outfielders, a DH. You have starting pitchers and relief pitchers. You have a huge, huge roster. But this is a best ball contest, and an underdog, they simplify it so you can just get in and compete and worry about the players, not as much as the positions. So there's only 3 positions to fill here. You see, pitcher, any pitcher, infield, outfield. That's it. Infield, outfield, pitcher. So anybody, which is nice. You don't have to worry about trying to fit in a catcher, a guy who, you know, is really not going to do too much for you, but you're obligated to, you know, put a catcher, worry about this position versus that position. But it also makes it tougher because then you have to select from, you know, these massive groups of players at a position. So right now you see Acuna went number 1, Judge number 2, Soto. That makes sense despite he was kind of disappointing last year in points. Juan Soto is a monster. He was probably the number 1 pick in most points drafts last year. And then we have Julio Rodriguez, Ohtani, who in this case, we're talking about the outfielder Ohtani. Trout, Jordan. Trout might not be even a first-round pick in most redraft leagues this year, but in points, you can make a case for it. And again, why so many outfielders here? Jordan, a beast in points too, if he's healthy. Mookie Betts, Kyle Tucker. And then you see the infielders, Vlad, Freddie Freeman, Jose Ramirez, also a points monster. So you'll notice as the draft goes on, outfield, the elite outfielders for points leagues in this format, it actually kind of dries up early. Remember, you're looking for depth there. Once you get to like your 3rd, 4th outfielder, you don't care necessarily that they can steal you 15, 20 bases. That's not as valuable in this format, right? So you get to my pick. I'm coming up again already. So we have these set of infielders. Garrett Cole was the first pitcher taken. Corbin Burns looks like a few picks later. Trey Turner, Bo Bichette. Okay, then you see guys like Schwarber and Harris. Tatis, that's kind of spicy there, 2.8. Getting Tatis that early, knowing he's going to miss time. And injuries are still kind of a question mark for him. All right, so on the clock again. Now, I'm at the turn here, and it's going to be a while before I pick. I'm just going to say that these outfielders, you got some solid picks. But again, the fact that Rosarena and Mullins steal bases, not as important here. George Springer is always nice in a points format. I'm already down to the wire here. I'm going to go with Austin Riley. Now, back again on the clock. Man, it's fast and furious here. I've taken Jacob deGrom in a couple of leagues because, again, best ball, the massive upside. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and do it. All right. So, man, that time goes pretty quick. So, all these pitchers that are here have been taken. Nola, solid. Strider, solid. And then you notice after the guys that you know that are studs like Scherzer, you got Bieber, and then you still have some pretty decent depth here. I'm going for upside. This is best ball. It's not just a contest where you want the players who are really good for stretches of time. You want those guys who can put up huge point totals on a given week. Jacob deGrom, even if I know he's not going to pitch 200 innings, we don't know that. But even if we think, well, I might not get a full season of him, I still take the chance of taking his best. I'm okay with it. I think it's a gamble that could pay off in a tournament like this. Again, this is a tournament. I don't just want to win my league. I want to try to win and advance and move on and have one of the best teams out there. I'll take the upside with deGrom. All right, so right now I got a pair of Braves, Acuna and Riley. Look at Acuna has a monster year. I think Riley is fine. Bobby Witt Jr., looking at the guy who's left here. He's a guy who, maybe in the discussion for first round, early second round in redraft leagues. But again, because of the steals, not as important here. So let me talk about the rules and the scoring for those who don't know. All right, start with hitting. So this is what you got. For hitters, 3 points for a single, 6 for a double, 8 for a triple, 10 for a homer. You notice down there, stolen bases, only 4 points. Homers are 10, steals are 4. That's a big difference than in a roto league, a 5x5 league, where they're weighted the same. It's a category, right? Runs and RBIs. Look, runs and RBIs, 2 points each. A stolen base is twice as important, but a home run is a lot more important. So power hitters are going to be more valuable here. That's why I went with a guy like Austin Riley. He's got that power. Singles and doubles. Also, if you have a guy who's a doubles hitter, it doesn't have to be a 40 home run guy. Doubles are still going to go a long way. Walks are 3, and that's what makes point leagues so different. Now, in this one, you don't get penalized for strikeouts. In some points leagues, you do get dinged for guys who strike out a lot. In this one, you don't. So again, taking a slugger is worth it. I thought about Matt Olson there too, but same thing either way, pretty much. Both guys are studs. Make sure I'm not up again. 10 picks away. We're good. All right, now pitching. How do you weigh that? Wins are worth 5, but look, also a quality start is worth 5, which is nice because wins really shouldn't be a thing in fantasy anyways anymore. A lot of fluke and luck. Still counts for wins. You want a guy who's good enough to get the wins, but the quality start, that's important. A strikeout is 3. An earned run is -3. So in this case, piling up the strikeouts and the innings, that's going to matter. So that's it. Saves, forget it. You don't even need to think about a closer in this format, and there's no point going after a reliever or a closer because they're probably not going to get you wins. You know they're not going to get you quality starts and very few innings pitched. It's not worth it. All right, so you want starting pitchers who can get you strikeouts. It's pretty simple. I think deGrom can help me with strikeouts, and I know he can get enough quality starts to be one of the top pitchers. All right, so with that said, coming up here, 6 picks away. I got one of each. I got one of each position. Again, looking those elite outfielders, any of those guys left. Remember Bryce Harper going to miss at least the first month and a half. Who knows? I don't want part of that because getting those at-bats is definitely going to make a difference. Byron Buxton, sorry, too risky. I'm not going to take the chance that maybe this year You know, he does actually play more than 100 games. And look, there he goes anyways. I really like Luis Robert. But you know what? I kind of like Eloy Jimenez a little bit better in this format because he's a little more of a slugger. And so I'm going to put him in the queue at infield. Mr. Reliable Arenado, is he going to be somebody who is going to give me that upside to win a tournament? I don't know. Maybe Arenado. There goes Altuve. I really like Corey Seager this year, not going to lie. The shift being banned is going to definitely help him jump up in batting average. You know he's got power, so I'm taking a lot of Seager. And remember, I got to take two of these guys back to back. At pitcher, nobody here really jumps out to me. I like Luis Castillo, but I don't like him significantly better than these other pitchers. And I got my eye on, well, not drafting against anybody in here, so I'm just going to go ahead and queue him up. But let's do this. I'm going to take Eloy at outfield. Love his upside this year. Yeah, I wouldn't even say it's safe with Arenado. I feel good about him. He's fallen pretty far here. Almost pick 50. There you go. And what you'll notice, if you click on the players here, it does show you, breaks down, which I like, and this is nice with Underdog. It shows you just what you need to know, and not their whole stat line. It shows you what matters, what counts in this league. Singles, doubles, triples, home runs, walks, runs, and RBIs, right? So this is what counts, what gets you points. And look, even last year, what some consider kind of disappointing for Seager, though his numbers were pretty good, but his batting average was down like 240s, should jump up quite a bit. He put up almost 1,300 points in this format. That's really good if you compare to some of the other guys that are left here. So I doubt he'll fall to me. Keep him queued up just in case. Here are the pitchers I'm looking at next. I really like Gausman. Still think he's being underrated. You know Robbie Ray will get you a ton of strikeouts and quality starts, right? Look at how he did scoring-wise. Of course, his amazing year, 1,400 points. Last year, still 1,100. That's really good. Gausman, by comparison, was pretty close. Almost 1,100 points. I think Gausman could be even better this year. So I might double up on pitching on the way back, but we'll see who's available. Got to keep up with this. It's going pretty fast. It's 30 seconds per pick. And then you can mix and match here with positions. If I want to look just offense, infielder, and outfielder, I'm just going to toggle back and forth. Outfield, Brandon Nimmo is a guy who is really good in points format, much better than in a roto league, because not a guy with great power, 20 home runs, you know, that's pretty much his ceiling. And I mean, well, if even 16 last year, he will score a lot of runs, which you say, well, that's not huge in this format, but he walks a lot. And that's really important in this format. And those singles, they add up. So that makes him more valuable than in a roto league where he doesn't get you steals hardly, not that much in terms of home runs. RBIs is fine, but in a points league, he will rack up those points for you. So he's kind of a nice fallback here and definitely a smarter pick than Stanton, especially at this age. Stanton, too much injury risk here. Kind of like a bounce back year from Castellanos. You know he's got massive power. Risky, but not too bad. And then after that, I think I can wait at that position. All right, so I'm just going to start kind of queuing up guys I might be interested in. Still got a ways to go. O'Neal Cruz, here's a guy who worth taking a shot on in a roto league because the power speed combo. I don't think it's worth it here in a points format because not yet somebody who's going to draw a lot of walks. You know, the singles, not going to give you as exciting of a total there. You know, it's a guy like Brandon Nimmo. More exciting player than Nimmo, but not more productive in points, if you see what I mean. Willie Adames, a guy who may be good here. Love Wander Franco this year. He'll get a ton of singles. That adds up, and he does not strike out. That doesn't help as much here because strikeouts don't cost you, but still, he will take walks. He'll get on base. You know I love Jazz. No explanation required there. All right. There goes Gausman. I didn't think he'd make it back to me, but I was hoping. Of course, there goes Seager too. So you see, and you can scroll back and see who's been taken since I've been picking last. There's Castillo, Manoa, Bryant Yelich, Quan. Quan's a pretty good player to have in this format. He does get on base a lot. Upside isn't amazing. Darvish is a solid pick. I think he's being undervalued again this year just because he's old, but he's still really good. All right, look at the squad here. I got 1 pitcher, 2 infielders, 2 outfielders. Now, let me go back to the roster requirements just to break it down. I didn't talk about that yet. So your starting lineup each week as it scores, and you don't have to set your starting lineup. This is best ball, does it for you. 3 pitchers, 3 infielders, 3 outfielders, and 1 flex, meaning whoever's left. So you got your best 10 players, point getters, will be in your starting lineup. All right, so I don't worry too much about filling in 3 of each because, again, you have that flex spot anyway. So I'm going to go for the value. Don't love the pitchers left now that Robbie Ray is gone and Urias is gone. I'll wait on pitching here. So I'm going to double up an outfielder, I think. I'm going to go with Nim. And I'm going to take a shot on Castellanos. Again, these guys all worry me. Ward, I'm not buying into. I think Castellanos is a good bet here. Look at that. You see that a year ago, last year, of course, let down in Philly. The year before, they had 1,500 points. He was one of the top point-getting outfielders in a format like this. Maybe he won't get quite back to that, but I still think he's definitely start-worthy. So now, look, 4 outfielders. You'll notice the drop-off. Again, high-risk, high-reward guys here. But then once you get to, like, Ian Happ, Mitch Haniger, Yoshida, fine, but more so in a roto, maybe not points. You have a lot of very questionable guys. We're already into like the sleeper range here, the sleeper and bounce back range. So once you do get those first few outfielders, you see why you want to get them early. I still only have 1 pitcher. I feel a lot better about the depth left at pitcher here than I do at outfielder. You know, I don't mind taking a chance on Giolito to have a solid year, Snell, a bounce back, maybe. Take a shot on Green. I love Hunter Green in this format. I really like Logan Gilbert, and I think he's somebody I could get on the way here if he isn't taken. Logan Webb, no, not so much. He's solid, not spectacular, but he is one of those players that might be affected by the shift, negatively affected, meaning that he might give up more ground balls that turn into base hits. So not really chasing Logan Webb. I do like Logan Gilbert, though. Kyle Wright, also a guy that might be hurt by the shift. And then I'm going to add some high upside players like Lodolo. And I love George Kirby. I don't know. He's going to be an innings eater, but to the max. And that's something that definitely plays well in this format. So I'm going to try to grab Kirby earlier than his ADP, and I'm going to grab him as much as I can. We'll see if he falls to me here. All right, so after I took Castellanos, I got Santander, who I actually kind of like too. Harper, Ward, Stanton, those guys I wasn't taking. Jazz, yeah, I know I can't have them everywhere. Okay, some more outfielders. I'm okay right now. I can wait. I got 4 outfielders. I mean, if there was somebody I really liked left, but there isn't. Not in a points format. And then at infield, I think I will take one of these guys, Adames or Franco. Now, I think Adames probably has more upside. Look, 1,200 points each of the last 2 seasons in this points format. You can get to 30 home runs again. I really like him. Franco is kind of my fallback here. Of course, he didn't play only but half a season last season. You know he's an uber prospect, could be a stud. Power is not going to get him, but he's going to need to play a full season. He's going to need to collect a lot of base hits. He's going to rely on singles and doubles, not so much home runs. But I still like him. I still like him if he's available, and Adames is not. I'm still 11 picks away. There's a good chance I don't get either of those guys. And there goes Adames. So plan B might just be taking 2 more pitchers. And that's okay because I can wait down here. I don't mind taking a chance on guys like Chapman and even Gunnar Henderson, the rookie, the guy who is #1 prospect in Major League Baseball this year because of that power upside. All right. let's see though. I'm okay taking Wander if he's still there, but I have a feeling not. His ADP in this format, Underdog tells you his ADP is 88.7, and we're on pick 88 right now. So also nice to know, it tells you exactly what everyone else has. Of course, only 3 positions here, but look, this guy already has 3 infielders. This team has 2 infielders. This team only has 1, and this has 0. So there's a really, really good chance one of these teams is going to take Franco before I can. That's okay. Always have to have a backup plan. That's what the queue is for. I'm staying away from Correa. Yeah, if all these teams are afraid to drop money at him because of the injuries, and he's always hurt. Yeah, he does really. I talked about this in one of my videos. Guy I'm kind of staying away from. Of course, there goes Wander. I knew that would happen. Correa's never had his massive power outbursts. He's not a guy who hits even 30 home runs plus. He hits for average. And again, really good in a points league format, but I think I'd rather have a guy I know is going to be out there on a more regular basis and has more propensity to get these massive, hot streaks, these big weeks, because that plays better also in a tournament style. And that's the thing. This is a tournament I want to ultimately advance. So I'll take a shot on Chapman or Gunnar later on, I think. Look, even CJ Cron, not too bad a pick in this format. All right, 2 picks away. So with what is left at infield and outfield, yeah, I'm just going to double up on pitchers. And that makes my choice easier. Giolito's gone. Gilbert is my guy. And do I go double Mariners? No, I like the strikeout potential Lodolo. I can wait. I'm going to take a chance I can get Kirby my next time around. And I'm okay if I miss. I know I just said I want Kirby everywhere. I already have Kirby in almost every other one of my best ball leagues, so I'm okay if I don't get him here. I'm going for that upside. This is the team I want to try to win the grand prize. I'm going for it all. So look, DeGrom, Gilbert, and Lodolo as my pitchers. Ton of upside there. Riley and Arenado, you say, well, maybe a little safer with those picks, but I'll compensate for that pretty soon with my infielders I got queued up. I love this outfield. I mean, I love this outfield. If I could get this everywhere, I'd be thrilled. All right, who's going off? I have a lot of Riley Green too. And not just in points leagues, but also in my redraft. I think Riley Green is a breakout. I've talked about this in my breakout video. Really like Riley Green. If he leads off, going to score a ton of runs. He's got that hit tool. He can hit for average. Maybe a little more power. They move the fences just a little bit in. That should help. I like Riley Green. I'm a little worried about Spencer Torkelson. He's a guy you think should be even better, but he just hasn't clicked for him yet. He's struggling in the spring so far. I know it's early, but I'm going to go for Green a lot more than Torkelson. Damn. All right. No George Kirby for me. Sleepy. Oh, well. It is what it is. Still 13 picks. Note Bar is a guy I did also just mention in a breakout hitter video. A lot of people are really on him, and I think he's getting, at least in like fantasy analyst circles and stuff I read, almost a little too much helium. I know a lot of people aren't going to draft him super high necessarily, but there's a lot of people out there to think he could be this breakout player. I'm not seeing it. He had kind of a good power showing at the second half of last year. He had never even done that before in the minors. He's not a high-end prospect. I don't know. He sold out a little bit for power. Maybe he can put together 20 home runs, but I think he might have some cold streaks too. Not guaranteed playing time with all the prospects that St. Louis always has. Jordan Walker, of course, coming on. I like Juan Yepes also. So I'm not totally sold on Nobar. I think I took a shot on him in one best ball draft because of the format, because it's a tournament, but I'm not going crazy for him. All right, let's continue to queue up players. I'm almost positive I'm going to take 2 of these infielders, 2 of these 3 coming up. Actually, I really like Nate Lowe also. Yeah, why not? We'll put him in there too. So I'm going to get 2 of these infielders, not because I have to get infielders, but just because I think that's where the best value is right now. Pitcher is now starting to thin out. You see guys like Cortez and Wright. Is there enough upside with a guy like Bassett? No. I do like Severino. I have him in a few places. Kershaw might be worth it. Again, because this is best ball, he's not going to start, over the full season because he'll hit the IL at some point. But for what he gives you, even though it's not the same vintage Kershaw, might be worth it if he falls. Yeah, he's probably not going to fall to me, though, because I'm still going to take these 2 infielders next. So I'll wait. I'll take a shot maybe later on a guy like Senga. Oh, man. Freddie Peralta is just getting no love. I mean, don't know why. And, of course, I like Jesus Luzardo. Definitely can strike some guys out. Yes, there's risk. You need to take some risks here. I'm staying away from Sale. That's too much risk for me. Chris Sale, yeah, no thanks. You might as well just burn that roster spot. And I definitely like Grayson Rodriguez. You know this if you saw my top prospects video. And another guy I am talking about in a video that's about to come out, Hunter Brown. Just going to queue up all these pitchers with upside that I like. Reed Detmers is another one I've discussed. I haven't talked about Rasmussen. He's kind of a sneaky late pick. And again, this is guys going near ADP of 200. So once we get toward the end of the draft, take some chances. All right, I'm almost up. There goes Gunner. Yeah, Henderson. I was hoping he might fall to me. All right, I'm still good taking 2 of these 3 guys. And I think I actually like a little bit better than Crone. So we'll see if I get them in order. Now, if 2 of these 3 go, I might pivot. Okay, so we're coming up on, I'm pick 120. Let's look at the whole board here. Everyone who's left. So the top ranked guy right now is Lowe, and then there's Chapman. So those infielders are the top that are left. Let's see what this team does. You know what, Cody Bellinger, not the worst pick in this format, really, not the worst. Also a guy who might be helped by the shift ban. All right, so Senga went. I'm just going to go with my plan. I like Nate, and I go Chapman. All right, so let's check out the balance here. 3 pitchers, 4 infielders, 4 outfielders. Like, you have to be balanced right now, but that's the way it is. So let's check this out too, the draft board. Make sure everyone can see this. All right, so this is how it's broken down so far. And if you haven't tried, by the way, this is just worth mentioning, Underdog's live drafts are very nice. So you can even see here, it's showing me, it's not a still frame of the draft, it's showing me who's on the clock, and it's still live, the timer and everything with the picks. So there goes Cody Bellinger. Oh, somebody's watching. All right, so look at the orange. You see that the whole front end of the draft here was outfielders. You're going to see that a lot in these Underdog best ball drafts because of just the nature of the position. You're getting those top elite performers. You don't have to worry about, I'm going to be thin at third base or second base or first base. It doesn't matter because it's just infield, outfield. So you might as well stack the best players and get those elite outfielders. And the fact that they go so early means the other outfielders that are left for you once you get to round 4 or 5, they're not really superstars anymore. No, don't tell me Chris Yelich is still a superstar. Brian Reynolds doesn't count. Okay, so you're going to find that these outfielders go at the beginning, and then usually the infielders sprinkled in with some of the starting pitchers. This is very typical. I haven't seen anybody drop that was really surprising, not in this format. So pretty typical. I think it's pretty typical draft here. And then the builds, you don't see anybody really stacking the same position early. This team here in the middle went outfield, outfield, outfield. got all of them, and then starting pitchers, and then 3 infielders. That's actually kind of smart in terms of how you build, because depth at the positions, again, in this format, outfield is where you want to strike first and then get the stud starting pitchers, and then typically save infield for last. But again, it all depends where you draft and who's out there. So I'm not going to ever blindly say I'm going to take all outfielders first and then I'm going to go pitching. But that's really a smart strategy for these veteran underdog drafters positionally. All right, so now we're through round 11. Flying by here. Let's go back to okay. Let's get out of that real quick. Okay, I'll make sure I was showing the right thing here. You see the sea of orange in the beginning, all the outfielders taken in the first round. And then this team right here in the middle that I was talking about went 3 outfielders, 3 pitchers, 3 infielders. Again, you don't have to do that, but it does make sense to attack that way because of the depth or lack of depth at each position. But this is just an idea of how the board would typically look. Notice there's a cluster of starting pitchers here, about round 5 or 6. I typically try to avoid that group of pitchers, and I did. And so that's why I just waited and took high upside arms like Gilbert and Lodolo a little bit later. But it just depends on your build. All right, let's get back to the board. All right, 1 pick away. Nope. Yes. So a lot of my queue has now dried up. What do I do? Pitchers, I feel like I can wait on these pitchers. I could take one of my upside guys, either Grayson or Brown. I have a lot of Grayson Rodriguez. I actually don't like any of these outfielders. I like Rowdy. I'm going to go with Rowdy. And then a pitcher, I'd rather take Grayson Rodriguez. High upside arm here. There he is. All right, into round 13 already, getting there. Let me take a look at my squad again here. Got DeGrom, Gilbert, Lodolo, Rodriguez. My pitching is pretty young. Not gonna lie, it's very, very young. That could be a problem if they don't pan out. You know, not all these. Gilbert does have a full year of experience under his belt. Lodolo too. But yeah, I might want to do something at pitching that's not quite as risky. So let's look. I do like Luis Garcia. I liked him a lot last year. Might take Hunter Brown off. Mikolas, he's a little too safe. Look, even having a really good year, a ton of quality starts, but he gets just so few strikeouts. You see 1,000 points. And at this point in the draft, that's solid, but that's like best case scenario for him. Could take a guy like Dustin May, but again, that's very, very risky here. Is there somebody kind of in between? Some risk, but not too much. I think maybe Rasmussen fits that bill. Detmers. Probably just stick with what I got there. And then later arms, I'm liking a guy like Haney, who, again, probably not going to pitch a full season, always has some sort of injury, but with the time he gives you, could put up some good point totals. Trevor Rogers for a bounce back. I like him. But yeah, might have to strike pitching again. Right now, I only got 4 pitchers. Some risk there. I want the risk reward, but not too much risk. Andrew Vaughn, I'm all over it. Jonathan India in a points format for sure. He doubles machine. That'll play in this format. Kettle Marte could be a sneaky pick. You know I like Casas. Just going to kind of load up here. Vaughn Grissom, a guy I'm looking at. How are we on outfield? Got 4 outfielders. Really, now I already have 5 true power hitters at infield, which is good. That's what I want. I could probably wait on infield. Maybe I should attack outfield and pitching first. So let's see what we got here. Kanha is a guy who's kind of nice in points leagues because he walks a ton, gets hit by pitches also a ton, which is good here. Oh, let's see if he makes it back to me, though. He's probably not going to at this point. Well past his ADP is 147. We're ready to pick 157. We'll see how that goes. Seth Brown was a nice value last year. Playing time, not sure if it's guaranteed. And he's been having a little bit of injuries. Meadows is the ultimate roll of the dice. I don't know. I took him in one league and I didn't feel great about it. So, yeah, we'll leave him for later. Don't mind Lourdes Gurriel. Hey, Kalanick? Why not? Nelson Cruz. This is a good format for him. You believe that the eye surgery and everything bounced back. This is the perfect format to take him. It's a best ball tournament, but that's a late pick. So I don't want to take Vaughn over these pitchers. I think I really have to shore up some pitching first. What is up, Bus? Tyler O'Neill. Yeah, Tyler O'Neill is probably better for Roto because he's got that home run stolen base combo. He also not the best plate discipline. I know this actual competition, this tournament, again, you don't get penalized for strikeouts, and he strikes out a lot. But he also doesn't walk as much as I'd like to see. So he's kind of more of an all or nothing guy. Although in best ball, you know what? Probably worth it, but he got taken away before I was going to take him. All right, there goes Andrew Vaughn. Decision made. I'm doubling up on pitchers. All right, let's see. And then I'm going to hope one of those infielders falls to me. All right, so here we go. I like Detmers. I like Rasmussen. I think we can see more quality starts his way. All right, so I'm going to take him off. Right now, breakdown 6-5-4, 6 pitchers, only 4 outfielders. That's okay because the depth at this point, they're all kind of shots in the dark here. I'll take somebody who has some upside. Kalanick might be the pick. Agree on Eloy also. Make him the full-time DH. Maybe they will. Like maybe they'll actually do some smart things there in the South Side now that LaRusse is out of there. So all right. India didn't last. It's okay. I think Marte is still a good value. And I was never crazy about Marte, but I think in this format, again, a guy who can get a lot of doubles. If he can just stay healthy, I think he could put up good point total. And again, talking about a guy who's my 6th infielder. I'm okay with that for depth. If not, I'll just take a shot on one of these young players. Now, outfield. What are we going to do about outfield? I mean, I don't love these guys here. Soler, I'm over. Conforto, no way. Laureano, better in Roto. De La Cruz is kind of interesting, but again, as a Marlins fan, I'm not totally in on him. I really liked Dylan Carlson last year. I'm still waiting for him to kind of break out. I don't know if it'll be this year. I think I'd rather take a chance on Garrett Mitchell, honestly. Then it gets thin. Although I'll tell you what, Cabrera is interesting. The Yankees. Friedel is having a good spring. He's somebody who's interesting. He's kind of a deep sleeper here. Somebody I might throw out there with my last pick. We'll see. I love Kirilloff. Can't get enough Kirilloff either. And then that's kind of where it ends for me. Yeah. There is always Joe Odell, but I try not to get too much exposure to him. I mean, this is the place to do it, but yeah. All right. What the hell? All right, there goes Casas. There goes Marte. But then again, I'm good. I got 5 infielders. So now, as far as roster construction and thoughts on that, we'll kind of toward the end here. You're going to have 20 picks. There is no one way to do it. I think what's most important is who you get early, what position, and how they balance out. Meaning, if you do go 2 or 3 outfielders early with your first few picks, you can afford to wait on the depth, and you don't have to go with 6, 7 outfielders. Probably the position you can go lowest on is infield. I don't know that you can get away with only 5 infielders. It's probably not a good idea. Injuries happen. You want, some balance. So I tend to be somebody who, just because of the nature of the position, I want more pitchers on my roster than anything. And I know you could say, well, you get more points on a regular basis from an outfielder. But I feel like you have more spikes with the pitching if you get really good starting pitchers. So if I'm going pitching heavy early, then yeah, I probably will have more outfielders when it's all said and done. I don't mind having a lot of depth at pitching. So typically, I would say I'm more like a 7-6-7, like pitching, infield, outfield. Sometimes, no, actually, I don't even know if I have gone. I don't think I've ever gone with 8 outfielders. Once or twice, I'll go with 8 pitchers. But I also don't go into it just saying I'm going to have this many of this. I'm going to take who I think has the best upside for my team. I'm still doing sort of a value-based drafting. So. Now, I don't feel great having just 6 pitchers, especially I know my pitchers, a lot of youth on there. And then there's DeGrom, who I obviously took a chance on. So I do want one more pitcher. Probably at this point, especially since those infielders gone, I'll take a shot on Trevor Rogers. I think I will. These guys don't do it for me. Perez, no. Flaherty, maybe. Might be worth it, but I think I'll go Rogers. I know he's got really good strikeout stuff. Flaherty's always hurt. Haney, again, if my rest of my pitching staff wasn't as injury prone already, I might add Haney, but not with this build. All right, 2 picks away. Kopech is another name that's interesting in this format, and I really like Justin Steele. And I just took Mackenzie Gore in a different draft, so I probably won't take him here. Edward Cabrera, also a good name. But I'm up. Let's just make it official. Trevor Rogers, bounce back. And I feel like... I could wait on Von Grissom. I feel like I go Gurriel. I know people will point to Kellenic, his pedigree. I'm not completely sold. He's really just more of a flyer at this point. Just crazy, more of a dart throw. We'll see. I probably prefer Garrett Mitchell, but let's see who's available here in this last couple of rounds. So I'm 7, 5, and 5. Okay, right now, scrolling ahead, you see I got 18th, 19th, and then I get the last pick. So with my 3 picks I have left, probably best to get at least 2 outfielders. So if I go Grissom or an infielder, and then I get 2 outfielders, 7, 6, 7, which is what I'm usually doing. It's balanced, no problems. Don't love any of the pitchers left. I think I'm okay with what I did. I do need one more infielder for depth. I don't feel great having just 5. I'm not going to go that route. And look, honestly, if Acuna and Eloy and Castellanos, if 2 of those 3 guys don't pan out, I'm probably not winning anyways. So there goes Garrett Mitchell. That's okay. And I'm okay with that because he's a guy who's really more going to be for speed than power anyways. I'm going to move my favorite guy up the list here. I really want Kirilloff, and I like Grissom. So let's see if I can land those 2. And some backup plans here at infield. Not a lot of power bats. Of course, to be expected. Not a lot of big power bats left. Javi Baez, there he goes. Not certain. I wish Alec Bohm was showing more power like he did in the minors. He's someone who's decent in this format. And McNeil, I mean, he gets on base. Just the power isn't really his thing, but he's out there every day. A ton of singles, some doubles. It's a pretty safe pick. He's a pretty safe pick. And that's okay for this point in the draft. But on infield, I'll just shoot for some upside here. All right. There goes Kellenic. Save me from myself. It's because he's not a guy I really want. He's just somebody I feel like I should take a chance on him here, once in a while, just because of his pedigree and what if. But he's looked lost the last 2 years. All right, there goes Bohm. Not a surprise. He was at the top of the ADP chart there. So I feel like I can get Kirilloff. I should be able to get Grissom based on, well, maybe not. I'm not getting Grissom. That's okay. I won't get McNeil either. Miranda's a guy I just took in TGFBI. That's the Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational. And that is a league tournament, also 15-man league on NFBC, going against all analysts, like writers, podcasters, just baseball analysts. It's not an easy league. I took Miranda because I think he can be everyday guy at the corner, right? Saying he could be the third baseman. Got some sneaky power. So do I take a chance on him in best ball too? I might. At this point, though, okay, so all these outfielders, most of them should be available to me from my last pick. So I could probably take one and just lock up infield here. All right, there goes McNeil. There goes Melendez. Probably here goes Miranda. wonder if anybody is interested in Juan Moncada. What happened to Moncada? Was going to lead the league in hitting for years. Didn't even hit for average anymore. Power isn't there. Doesn't steal bases. I don't know what happened there. Now, here's an interesting name. And I definitely talked about him in my top 10 prospects video. Let's add him to the queue. All right, let's see. Miranda probably won't make it. He's probably going to get picked here. Take a look, everyone who's left. There goes Haney. Of course. Right before I was going to take him. That's okay. I'll go with a different twin, Kirilov. And I'm just going to lock up Young right now, or Jung. And then last pick. So now I'm at 7, 6, and 6. No need to take another infielder. I could go 8 pitchers, overload on pitchers, and just roll with these outfielders. Not kind of. Let's say not too much injury risk, but then Eloy has been hurt a lot. Kirilov has been hurt a lot. A lot of youth at pitching. All right, let's see who's left at pitcher. Got 1 pick left. Swing for the fences. For another injury-prone guy with Kopech's. Steele, I like Steele, but better in Roto and a little safe for my build. Mackenzie Gore, I love Mackenzie Gore, but I've taken him way too much. Let's add him to the queue anyways. All right. Does Oswaldo Cabrera have the upside to be on this team? Maybe. What about Friedel? Probably not. Joe Adele. All right. Down to these 4. Let's see who's left for the final pick. Good time to mention, by the way, won't be doing as many live drafts for baseball as for football, but I'm going to do some endgame leagues for baseball pretty soon. If you're still watching, hit subscribe, give us a like, jump in the Discord, and you know what, you can watch the fantasy endgame for baseball all season long. Fantasy endgame for football also all year long. All right, 15 picks away from wrapping this thing up. Here is what I got at pitcher: Jacob deGrom, Logan Gilbert, Nick Lodolo, Grayson Rodriguez, Reed Detmers, Drew Rasmussen, and Trevor Rogers. A lot of guys who can strike out batters. That's what I was shooting for. Don't need to have players on great teams to rack up wins. Yes, wins count, but quality starts count just as much. So I'm okay taking pitchers from Cincinnati and Baltimore and the Marlins. Infield, I went purely for power bats because stolen bases aren't as important here. Talked about that at the top. Home run counts for 10 points, stolen bases 4. So got Austin Riley, Nolan Arenado, Nate Lowe, Chapman, Rowdy, and Josh Jung. Do have quite a few Rangers, I've noticed, which is okay. And then at outfield, going for Mr. Do-It-All, Ronald Acuna, said he should be the first overall pick, and I think that counts for points leagues too. Really like Eloy's potential if he stays healthy. Nimmo, great in points. Castellanos, looking for a bounce back. Gurriel, I think could have to some extent a bounce back. Chance for everyday playing time in Arizona. And then Kirilov, love his upside. So the final pick here. I kind of like my outfield the more I look at it. And with a risk at pitcher, you know what? I'm gonna assume these guys can carry the weight anyways. Cabrera's fine. I don't think he's gonna have a breakout season. Joe Adell, look, maybe if the other two are taken, I'm gonna go for a pitcher. I'm just gonna go for my 8th pitcher and see how that goes. So Gore, super high-end prospect who got injured last year, got traded. People are going to forget about him because now he's in Washington. I haven't forgotten. I think he could be a monster. I have him a lot, though. I have him in several leagues. Kopech, he can be really good when he's healthy, but he's rarely healthy. So between the two, well, let's see if either one gets taken. Just go ahead and scratch it down there. And for those also don't remember, join late, what this is, live draft on Underdog. It's called The Dinger, $10 to enter, a chance to win $100,000, $500K total in prizes. If you're not on Underdog yet, don't know why, but if you do, join Underdog now, use promo code ENDGAME. All right, so definitely check that out. Great contest for best ball, football, baseball, pick'ems, every sport actually. If you're into fantasy, NBA, NHL, whatever. I think golf too, although I don't know, not really into golf. All right, a couple of picks left here, 5 picks away. The final pick, let's see if either of these pitchers gets taken. I'm higher on Gore. Man, I think he could just be a massive breakout, great value. I'm going to take him a lot this year. It's funny in baseball how fast people forget when you're the #1 prospect and this future superstar, and then after half a season, everyone's like, yeah, forget that guy. Luis Arias, always solid in points, even though he hits exactly 2 home runs per year. And a lot of these teams, similar builds to me, 6'6", 7'6". Got to have some semblance of balance. All right. The last pitcher. Let's make it official here, unless I happen to get sniped by Leggy. But that's why you always have to have a backup plan. Tommy Pham, didn't see that coming. All right, make it official here. Mackenzie Gore, it is done. All right, thanks for hanging with me. Going to do some more of these drafts. You want to get in Underdog, like I mentioned, use promo code ENDGAME for some bonuses, and check out all the videos coming out the rest of this draft season to help you win. Hit subscribe, hit like, appreciate it. Thanks, guys.